be given 4 minutes to pitch your business, pitch for the money, and your 4 minutes starts now.
We want to rebuild Soweto. If you inject money into our business, it makes our operations run cheaper, subsequently making it cheaper for the average South African to afford our services.
Have you done the mathematics to ascertain which project is going to give you the quicker return? In my opinion, from a business perspective, commercially, that's a long-term goal compared to, because you can immediately realize an extra 30% that could go there. So am I correct in saying that you haven't done the mathematics?
You're correct, ma'am.
Thank you.
You are tuned into the home of entrepreneurs, and we have a jam-packed season for you. Sithemba ukuthi kule season lena sizogqugquzela ukuze wena uthathe isinyathelo esilandelayo usungulele lakho ibhizinisi. This is Making Moves Season 8. We kickstart the season in the construction industry. Mkabela Real Estate, founded by Sabelo and Sifiso Mkabela, expanded their growth into construction to keep their business afloat.
Hi, this is Siya Mdlalose and Sabelo Mkabela. We are the co-founders of Mkabela Real Estate.
We specialize in property development, renovations, and carpentry, together with renting out of property. Our dream is to rebuild Soweto. We want to make beautiful houses with beautiful interiors and want to maintain the highest standard of living at a very affordable price.
Siphinde sikwamukele kwisizini entsha Making Moves lapho sisashazo nake lezi sidume ngazo. Sisagcile kubona kosomabhizinisi abasafufusa kodwa abasebenza kwinkundla ezahlukahlukene. Namhlanje ngizohlangana nensizwa ke yona ke ebone igap kule nkundla lena ke construction. Wangena ngamashi kuona ke lo mkhakha lo. Ngizobathi une project asebenza kuyona ke khona lapha eOakland Park. Into engifuna ukuyazi ukuthi ke yena umethu wenza construction, yaqobo yiphi ke futhi. Enye into engifuna ukuyazi ukuthi yini ke lemenze ukuthi yena angene kuyona ke lo mkhakha. Awe la kwangathi kunzima ke la.
Yeah.
Uthe kune project obusy ngayo la ekhaya.
Enkulu.
Asiqale la mntaba nenzani ke la ngaphambi ukuthi sigqileke phakathi ngebusiness lakho.
Sizo renovate indlu ubhuti usifonelile athi ucela sirenovate amakhishi wakhe, 2 kitchens, ama bedroom ay3, sifakele nama student ama floating desk. So sikhiphe konke lokho okudala sofaka ukusha manje. Yeah.
Wena umuntu obesebenza ngeimali, background yakho yeyimali. From yonke lento leyo usuzofuna ukungcola ke manje, usufuna ukusebenza ngezandla. Yini ekwenza ukuthi ugcine ubona ukuthi ufuna ungena kule nkundla?
I won't lie, it was almost accidental in the sense ukuthi thina singena ku real estate sithi sothengisa indlu. But obviously once you start getting into it and starting to establish ukuthi khona other aspects of making money as well, your carpentry, your construction and so forth, and that's how we got into it. Sakindle one, masikindle indlu one, dingeki kishi, makdingeki kishi. That's how the business started. Yeah. Bege phuti.
Yeah. Mkoti na yonke into la zidla phansi la ekhaya.
Njengoba bengisho siya renovate.
Yebo. Ama services ala ekhaya nenzani kahle?
We do property development, we do renovations, senza makishi, carpentry, we do property maintenance as well. We buy property, we rent them out. Yeah, that's the services that we provide. But
all right.
Okay.
Yes, sir.
So nali le kishi besikhuluma ngalo.
Yilo ke le ndawo.
Yibo bhuti. This is the CEO and brain of the business, ubhuti uSifiso Mkabela. Ne cousin uThokozana.
Yeah. Sinqale ngapha. Mkabela.
Siyabonga mfowethu.
Yeah, thank you.
Ngiyaphila kanjani bhuti?
Ngiyaphila mntawa. I-partnership yenu yaqala kanjani? Futhi nisebenzisana kanjani ke la ekhaya?
Yaqala nge-tragedy uSabelo mabamthathela imoto. Ngaba na this idea ukuthi inhlungu yakhe ukuthi kumele ahambe ayothenga enye imoto uphinde kulentuzana. So why not sicale something ezoba ilegacy esoyishiya and going forward and ubudlelwane baqala lapho. We turned the misfortune into fortune.
Yeah. So ama day to day running our business wenu athini kwenzakala nemihlana amalanga ibhizinisini lenu?
Ngama weekends uqala nge-weekend. Saturday I'll do the logistics and find out how many people we need to see, start ama measurement.
Yes.
On the Sunday I'll start writing down ama cutting list ukuthi uzodingeka ini nani. Monday I'll go check nama suppliers ukuthi yonke leyo material ikhona. By Tuesday ngithumela ama quote si negotiate ukuthi alright ungakhona ukubhadala malini and so forth. So yeah.
Sometimes we would have problems where umuntu would say ngifuna lokho and then the outcome sekafuna ukuchange ngama last minute stuff. So with the 3D included into the contract, this is what we agreed on and that's the outcome and that we're going to deliver based on what we in contract with.
I knew that I wanted something that was of a certain standard. And I'm not taking away from any of the guys that stand outside. So the reason I would choose them specifically is because I could see some of their work. So they at least a bit of a company profile, nyana, ko Facebook or whatever. So I could actually see what they're doing. And I thought, okay, if I have any more intelligence than them, then maybe I should do kitchens. Our kitchen was okay, but it had seen its years, you know, it had seen time, it needed a bit of zhuzh. So I think they gave us quite nice elegance, which is what I like. I mean, the white finishes on top are completely priceless.
So lana njengoba bengisho sa renovate yonke indlu. The commune is very old and so is the furniture. So
Bengisathi ngizosho ngiyabona ama wardrobe awamzukwana.
Yeah, like that. So it all has to go. Sifaka ama built-in cupboard, sifakile nama student ama floating desk naloku yahamba.
Konke lokhu kuyahamba.
Yahamba.
Uma senihlangene ke iqembu la ekhaya nibangakhi mase seniphelele abantu abasebenza la?
Okay, on a permanent basis, C5 masiphelele. And then khona abantu subcontractayo banemsebenzi kodwa sibadinga ama weekend and after hours.
Umsebenzi wami umsebenzi wezandla. Khona engikwazi ukwenza khona engakwazi ukwenza. Like ukukhuluma into engakhona ukuyenza. Ngikude ngapha ku action. So ngiye ngasebenza kubo babona umsebenzi wami. Bathi no ngenza umsebenzi omuhle so sakhuthala phansi sakhuluma ukuthi sisebenze sonke.
How do you get new clients?
We utilize the platforms that we have. So we use social media, Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter. And so abantu bayasirefera and that's how we're getting most of our work.
Yeah. The project is at Kazinganan?
Ngathatha buma 3 weeks. So njengoba bengisho ama kitchen I2, ama bedroom I6, nama floating desk I10. Yeah.
If these 5 properties are not cash flow positive, why don't you just sell all of them and invest more in student accommodation?
They could easily sell for 2 million in about 15 years' time. Why would you want to sell that right now?
Mkabela brothers were born and raised in Soweto from a church-orientated family. Namhlanje umndeni wabo ke uxoxisana nathi kusitshela ukuthi ke lezi insizwa zazinjani zisakhula. Futhi ke sifuna nokwazi ukuthi ke yiziphi ke izinto ke eziguqule impilo zabo ukuze zibe ngcono.
Sabelo umuntu osebenzayo very hard. Lento ebizwa ngokuthi phecelezi i-goal getter.
Umuntu pay attention to details.
Orata batho So he's not a person or pretender. If in agayifuni, and that's it.
I'm very strong, I'm very stern, I'm very opinionated. I'll speak my mind, I will not die in silence. I'll speak my mind and yeah, I go for what is mine.
He's a doer. That's all I can say about him.
I come from a family of 3 kids, my older brother, my little sister. Sabelo sonke Diepkloof, sahlala khona for iminyaka 8 saya eDobsonville, saya eNaturena. We grew up in a very loving family, very supportive family.
Our first journey started at primary school here in Soweto, Diepkloof, Roma. And moving on to higher primary, we went to Yuval Boys. And we carried on with the traditional of boys all the way up to JP Boys. Sabelo in school was genius. Sometimes I felt jealous because from grade 1, he was number 1 in the class.
I never had a problem. Good to Sabelo, I'm a homework. Sabelo was time good to go land on my report. I'll be nervous. Good to when no, he was excellent.
Umuntu onokukhandela lula kusuke kuchaza ukuthi ubehlakaniphile.
I'm very tenacious. I don't know what no means. As far as I'm concerned, we can do all things. Nothing is impossible.
USabelo wayethanda kakhulu le umdlalo obizwa i-wrestling.
Bebongibiza u-Terminator. Mengimosha. Very, very active. But yeah, man, I broke too many things. I'm surprised I haven't broken a bone in my body. But yeah, very energetic child.
And we played a lot of soccer together until up to high school, where we were introduced to a different sport, which was rugby.
So the thing that sticks out the most is rugby. Ngithandile rugby. I won a lot of accolades, a lot of awards for it. I also had to I traveled the country, playing different tournaments and so forth. So like that's the one thing that I can take from high school.
Not support, but not all the time, because I mean we cannot spend every weekend to Sifiso school, and unfortunately we had some things in between.
We're very fortunate to be blessed with our parents as supporting our Kingdom.
They're very supportive. They sacrificed a lot for us to get to where we are. Sacrificed a lot to get us this little education that we have and these opportunities that we have.
When Sabelo was hijacked and kidnapped, he was very, very under a lot of stress in such a way that he didn't want to drive anymore.
Kodwa ngamnika isikhiya semoto. Ngathi Sabelo nayi imoto. Kufanele ukuthi imoto ayidrive.
If I didn't have that kind of upbringing and the family that I do have, I could easily would have fell into depression or relapsed into a dangerous lifestyle. But because of that love and whatever you needed, it was there at home. I also did get clinical help, your psychologist and so forth. But the healing happened at home more than anything.
And that's how he slowly but gradually, and now we're talking a happy ending where those fears, he doesn't have them anymore due to the support structure is based with family.
I'm very comfortable behind the wheel. I am.
The 2016 financial year saw the construction company start off to a poor start with margins under pressure and decreasing order books. Uphinde ukhumbule ukuthi ke umncintiswano konakele umkhakha lona muningi. Lokho yokudala ukuthi ke izinkampani ezafufuza zilwe lezi imvuthu lezi ezincane ezisele lapha etafuleni. Namhlanje insizwa zakaMkabela zilapha e-studio sethu uxoxisana noPepsi. Ukumchazela ukuthi ke zona imaphike amasu ezinawo ke ezowasiza ukuthi aphumelele.
Yeah, we just arrived at the studio. We're so excited to be here.
I'm excited and anxious at the same time. I'm obviously going to be asked about something that I'm very passionate about, but I also have the fear that I might just misrepresent the business. So a little scared, but yeah, let's see how that goes.
When the Mkabela brothers started their real estate business, the plan was to buy and rent out houses to low and middle income earners. Now they've refined the business and added carpentry, maintenance, and the renovation of houses. They're here to share some of the challenges and business opportunities that they're exploring. Gentlemen, welcome to Making Moves. Which of the brothers is the older brother?
Sifiso.
Sifiso is the older brother, and then Sabelo is the lighty.
Yeah.
Okay. So who started the business?
I did start the business.
Okay.
Yes.
And why did you bring him on?
I've always believed in family orientation because we were brought up that way.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. So one day it will be called Mkabela and Sons or something.
No, we're going to stick to the name Mkabela Real Estate.
Okay.
And if we do expand, division of.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. You started with a plan. The plan was to buy, renovate, and sell houses.
Yes.
Why did you move from that?
We have not moved away from anything. We've just expanded and doing more things.
My sense is the carpentry, the maintenance, you've added for cash flow purposes.
Yes.
Precisely.
100%.
Okay. And then the rentals that you're getting on the properties, is that just covering the bonds, or are those making you money as well?
So in the last 3 years, we have been running at a loss. So they were just covering the bond, some of them not covering the bond, but almost covering the bond. But we obviously have a plan to start student accommodations that can easily, cover the bond and also create some cash flow for the business.
Okay. How many houses have you guys bought?
We've got 5 properties.
You've got 5 properties.
Yeah.
Okay. So where's the growth in this business? Because I was looking at some of your growth plans, and you guys are, frankly, a little bit all over the place.
Yes.
So on one hand, you want to get into property management services so that you can handle buildings for corporates. On the other hand, you want to get into government tenders in terms of housing and whatnot. So clearly, at the moment, the revenue is coming from the maintenance and renovation work. I get it.
Yes.
And then the properties, you're needing to put some money into that to keep it afloat every month to cover the shortfall between rent and bond.
Yes, yes.
So you've got lots of options here. And I'm trying to understand, and I'm not sure you guys understand, which one. Because, you know, on the one hand, you're saying, okay, student accommodation. That's quite a focused business. If you want to buy houses, turn them into student accommodation, so that you're getting more revenue per house,
yes.
And you're able to make a profit on each house along with covering the bond. That's quite a focused, play. I'm not understanding then where the RDP or whatever it is that you want to do in terms of government tenders come into it. And there's nothing wrong with each of these opportunities that you guys have looked at. But which one is it? I don't think you can do all of them.
What we needed to do was obviously fund this. So to build those student accommodations or to build anything, as a matter of fact, you need that cash flow. If you're not going to approach the bank and ask for any credit, then you need to fund it yourselves. And that's what we've been doing for years, where we've been saving money, our incomes, and we've been using our own cash. But now we have started things like the carpentry part of things that can fund those student accommodations.
So the properties are bonded?
They are bonded.
Yes,
so all the properties are bonded?
Yes.
So if we were to do something big, what would it be? Where are you going to get scale from where you take this thing to the next level?
The next level is for us to start doing much bigger things. So as much as student accommodation is going to generate a lot of income for us, but the bigger dream is obviously to start building malls, start building a townhouse, a location, somehow emulate what is happening in the suburbs, do that in the in the locations. But the scale, I really can't say.
Put it on to paint it right now.
Let's talk about the next 6 months.
Okay.
What I understand is you're going to continue with maintenance and carpentry and whatnot because that's day-to-day cash, right?
Yes.
You're going to keep the accommodation that you have now, the houses that you're renting out to other people. You're going to keep those.
Yes, we are going to keep those.
And then you're going to You have these 2 houses right now that you're going to renovate and turn into student accommodation. That's the plan for the next 6 months?
To put even further for the next 12 months.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's the plan for the next 12 months.
Yeah.
So if these 5 properties are not cash flow positive, why don't you just sell all of them and invest more in student accommodation?
Could. But we've never had that conversation before. But when we bought the other ones, we're also looking at your long-term investment part of things. So I know that someone else is paying off my bond, and in the next 20 years or 15 now, they're going to be paid off. So that is money that we could use then. They could easily sell for 2 million in about 15 years' time. Why would you want to sell that right now?
Well, because if you sell that right now and you're able to invest into another student accommodation and have another 16 beds in the next 12 months, all of a sudden you're sitting with 32 beds and you're generating 1.6 million a year.
It makes sense.
With nominal debt.
Yes. Yeah. It makes sense.
Okay. Gentlemen, thank you. I look forward to hearing you pitch in terms of later on in the process. And I hope I've given you something to think about in terms of building scale and investing where you're going to get the best return.
No, thank you.
Fantastic.
I appreciate it.
Mkabela Real Estate speaks to a niche market that needs to renovate and revamp their homes. However, the business could grow a little bit faster. I'm sending Sabelo and Sifiso to a coaching session with Dr. Lucas Moloi for advice on how they can grow their business a bit faster.
The interview with Pepsi, it was exciting and again constructive.
And we think we have everything all figured out, but when you get someone else's perspective and see how much more you could make or how fast your business could grow. So yeah, man, he gave us that, and yeah, definitely have changed perceptions about how we're going to proceed going forward.
Until you are buying a property or building property cash, it is not yet an investment because you are still waiting to pay a bond. That for me is not an investment. I need you to make sure that your vision is very clear because that's what investors look for.
Njengoba Mkabela Real Estate kuyinkampani esafufusa, lokho kusho ukuthi ke lezi insizwa zakaMkabela kumele ke zize namasu ahlukahlukene azobasiza ukuthi bona bakwazi ukuheha amakhasimende amasha futhi babe nomthelela omuhle kwezezimali, nalokho kuzobasiza ukuthi ibhizinisi labo lisimame. Basanda kuba nodlwana ondlebe noPepsi. Lapho ke khona ke bebonile ukuthi iziphi izinkinga abanazo ebhizinisini labo. Lezo inkinga lezo kuzodingeka ukuthi ke bazilungise ngokukhulu ukusheshsha.
What are the challenges that you are facing at the moment in the business?
I'll tell you the biggest challenge that we face as far as the carpentry business is concerned. It's depending on other businesses, our suppliers, the people that cut our machines, the edging. If for whatever reason they are stuck and they run out of wood or the machinery doesn't work, it affects us.
Remember now, when you have got the contractor on site, he's not the contractor. To your client, that is you.
That's me. Yeah.
So that's why I get a little bit concerned when the business, much of it is sort of outsourced and that. What would it take for you to do manufacturing yourself? And is it even, you say it's on the cards and that, yeah. What would it take and how would it change the business?
It will change the business in a big way. One, will be having will be in control of what's happening and will be determining the quality and the high standard that's going to be coming out of that production. Secondly, the funds that are funneled into cutting and outside, they can be refunneled to something else into the business, be reinvested into the business, whereas right now we're taking a huge chunk of our profit margin outsourcing it because we don't do production.
Yeah. What are we sort of looking at as a business?
So the machines alone, it's 165,000 rand just for the machinery. You'll obviously need some sort of a warehouse, and you'll need boards. So you're looking at anything. So maybe say 300,000 to start a successful manufacturing of boards.
Yeah. So who have you guys went to in trying to get these funds?
So and no one. We do not want credits at all. So we don't want to ask for $1 million and then pay $2 million to the banks. Yeah. What we do want to do, however, is make money from all the other sources of income. So from the rentals, from the carpentry, take that money, reinvest it back into getting the necessary machinery.
Which part of the business is the biggest one at the moment?
At the moment, it's the carpentry. That's
carpentry. So carpentry properties that you're renting out.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Are you managing these properties yourself?
No, we decided because it was a huge decision to take that no, we're going to outsource this department. Reason it had legalities involved, where we wanted someone to screen the people with the law firm. Contracts undergone properly, law firm audited and everything. Okay, so everybody has got their lease agreements and everything in that. So okay, see that's one thing that I like also about your business, understanding where your strong points are and what's the focus of your business, and not trying to do everything yourself and that. So now, you guys are still employed somewhere else? Yes, we are.
Full time, both of you. Okay, how is that working out? With them both not being in the business, I'm a little bit worried. As much as it gives a bit of hope that they are not caught up in the business.
Not being hands-on to the business, it doesn't worry me much. Yes, it is an alert. There are franchises out there that people install systems in place that can run by itself. That the so-called creator of that, he's not hands-on on a daily basis. So we're trying to achieve that, but on a bigger scale into property.
One of the things that draw one's back a lot of times is finding that dream and being too afraid to follow it. So what's keeping you employed? So at this moment, how it appears to me is that you can see that this thing may be successful, but you still have got your other leg on the other side because you're too afraid to go on the other side. And that, what is it that you're afraid of? I think that they are a bit separated from the business, with the two of them not being there at all and not having that their hands on the pulse all the time on the business. It could bring a bit of a problem into that business. Who is working in the business full time?
We've got a guy we employed, which he manages the business, and of course he has to he consults us there and there, but with the systems that we put in place, everything works well for us.
So I'm hopeful that at the moment they will consider what I've put to them to say perhaps they need to reconsider in terms of who needs to be in that business to make sure of the growth of the business.
I definitely think it's great advice. I think it could work. It's obviously something that we need to now sit down, go into the drawing board, and see where we can utilize both our expertise for the benefit of the business. And I think it's a perfect solution, I think.
You've got a pitch tomorrow for very much needed money to go to the equipment and that. I need you to make sure that your vision is very clear, because that's what investors look for. What is the vision in terms of this business? What's the vision? Where are we planning to go? Where do we want to go? I think your why is very clear, where you're wanting to go, and that how are we going to get there is very important to me. What do you need to scale up on in order to increase your finances, to increase the business itself? So this is how much we have. This is how much work we will need to do to get to the goal of this much. So know your numbers. Make sure that those numbers appear tomorrow. They are attractive enough. don't go and refabricate the numbers and everything, but just make sure that the numbers shows exactly the potential for the business to grow, and that until you are buying a property or building property cash, it is not yet an investment because you are still waiting to pay a bond. That for me is not an investment. So look into that as well and demonstrate how you're going to scale that business to be able to achieve that for itself. I really wish your business all the success, and I'll see you tomorrow for that pitch, and please do well.
Thanks. Thank you. Thank you. I appreciate it.
I came here thinking that we're in a good place, that whatever we're going to do is going to be a success, and with the coaching session that we had, it's solidified that, but obviously now I've got better advice and I know what I need to do in order for us to get where we need to go. So the coaching session, as far as I was concerned, was amazing.
We need to go sit down and try to analyze and plan properly.
You guys have got some time left. Are you done?
We're done.
Yes, we're done.
Okay. Which part of your business are you selling here today?
Good.
Nikahle.
Saphila njani?
Hayi siyaphila. Hayi ngiyanibona futhi nishaye insenga ke manje. Sendready ukuthi sopitcha ke namhlanje.
Kakhulu.
What's your strong point to the pitch?
I think our business objectives are our biggest assets in this pitch, and yeah, so Sifiso to win them over.
To win them over.
Yeah.
And then you ngathi yantenga ke. Lutho.
Ama nerves, of course.
Oh, so weaknesses are my nerves, but strong point pitch yona into engicabanga ukuthi nizoba winner over ngama charges wethu.
Yebo.
Hopefully ama nerves ke don't play a big role ngalena ke ngithi.
No, siyabonga futhi.
Ama charges anilindile bafethu. Cela nishoneni khona. Hopefully you win them over.
Thank you.
All the best, my brother.
Siyabonga.
Thanks, my brother.
Thank you. Shoneni khona.
Gentlemen, welcome back to Making Moves. How are you guys?
Good, thanks. How are you, sir?
Good. Ready to pitch?
Ready.
Yes.
All right, so you're going to be given 4 minutes to pitch your business, pitch for the money. You're going to be pitching to Martine, Lucas, and myself, and your 4 minutes starts now.
Thank you.
Thank you. So why do we deserve to win 50,000 Rand? Well, we deserve to win 50,000 Rand because we understand what it means for our business. We understand what a cash injection means for an SME. We also understand how we can utilize that 50,000 Rand to maximize our profits. And not just financial results, we are also a socially responsible business. And 50,000 Rand can go a long way into making our objectives possible. Now, if you look at our financial results over the last year, we made 75,000 Rand a month on average. We can make it 113,000 Rand a month. How? By buying machinery. We are spending 5,000 Rand a month on petrol. We are spending 20,000 Rand on cutting the material. Also, we are using suppliers that use another supplier. So if we had our own machinery, we would cut out the middleman and save us 13,000 Rand. All in all, that is 38,000 Rand that we could be saving to expand our business. And that's just the financial part of things. We also said that we are a socially responsible business. We want to rebuild Soweto. We want to restore dignity in people's lives. We want people to be happy and proud of where they come from. We are already building houses, beautiful houses with beautiful interiors at affordable prices. And if you inject money into our business, it makes our operations run cheaper, subsequently making it cheaper for the average South African to afford our services. So when you put money into Mkabela Real Estate, you are not just helping Mkabela Real Estate, but you are helping rebuild South Africa.
And to add to that, being social responsible, we'll be creating a job creation by having in-house production, where we'll be touching in job employment. Hence, in our country, there's a lack of employment. And by so doing, we would have reached to change those people's lives as well. We thank you.
All right, you guys have got some time left. Are you done?
We're done.
Yes, we're done.
Okay. All right, we're going to go straight into question and answer. I suppose my first question is, which part of your business are you selling here today?
So the 50,000 Rand is going into the carpentry. The carpentry, like I said, is currently making 75,000 Rand on a monthly basis. With that cash generation, it will take us to 113,000 Rand a month. You save that money over a period of 6 months to a year, as I have on my financials right there. And then you generate enough money to now start building on the property development part of things. So that's where the money is going to be allocated for the bigger picture. Not just for carpentry or for the renovations, it's going to the bigger dream of rebuilding the township.
But yet, it needs to be first channeled to the carpentry department.
Okay.
So you're saying that your carpentry business will co-subsidize or will subsidize your property development business
100%.
later on, okay?
Yeah.
So on your monthly income statement at the moment, the 75,000 Rand on, I'm not clear whether that grows monthly or is that the average income? And if it's an average income, how long has that income been average for? And what is the profit margin on that?
So the 75,000 is average,
Okay.
and it fluctuates, man. It goes from 50,000 to 120 to 75. It fluctuates.
How long, what period did we use for averaging?
We're looking at 4-month average for the carpentry business.
Okay. Have you done the mathematic to ascertain which project is going to give you the quicker return? Because you're saying you're pulling in 75,000 Rand in profit on a carpentry business that could give you an immediate 30% plus growth. And you're building a property development of student accommodation. In my opinion, from a business perspective, commercially, that's a long-term goal compared to, because you can immediately realize an extra 30% that could go there. So am I correct in saying that you haven't done the mathematics?
You're correct, ma'am.
Thank you.
How much is the machinery?
165,000.
Okay. So 50 will go towards that machinery.
Yes.
Have you got the rest?
We have about 130,000 in a savings account.
Okay.
Yeah. So
would you spend it on this?
Would you spend it
So
on
if
the
you had
machinery?
50, you would augment it and you would
Yes.
spend it all on machinery.
Definitely.
Okay. Any further questions? All right, gentlemen, thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Bobhuti,
Yebo bhuti.
ngiphithi. Na ama-charges laphana. Bacwane ngiphithi la. Khulunywa ngayo lapha.
I like the business. These guys are targeting proper development, quality development in the townships, and that nothing does a winning formula. Student accommodation does a winning formula; it never fails. So I think they're onto something.
Absolutely.
Okay.
Kanti bathini?
Ngicabanga ukuthi ngendlela esibambe ngayo i-pitch basiphathele indaba ezimnandi. Yeah.
Kuthiwe sesekhona isikhathi ngifuna uqhubeka cha sesiqedile. Kungani?
I think our business objectives are clear. They're easy to understand, and we gave them thorough information as far as how we intend to get there. So there was not much elaboration that needed to take place.
Yeah.
Yeah.
These guys, they really have a solid business. I mean, apart from them, there was only the one little factor that you could say, have you gone and done the math to see where your biggest returns are? That's the only point I could fault them on.
Here's what I don't understand. They are saying that it's going to take them 6 months to get the student accommodation ready, right? It's going to cost 300K. Conservatively, so they're not going to be ready in 6 months because they don't have the money to put into the student accommodation.
If they unlock the money to buy the machinery, they will then in 3 months, they would literally have 110,000 Rand profit every single month to fund into the accommodation.
My experience in business has always been, if it looks too good to be true,
it probably is.
It generally is. So I feel like there's a lot that
they're not telling us.
That they're not telling us.
Okay.
And maybe their view is a little bit too optimistic.
They're not very strong with their numbers. They're not very clear with their numbers.
I saw not financials, but bank statements and whatnot. I didn't see the money that they're talking about coming in. So that's a concern for me.
So,
okay, let's bring them back in.
Ake, bobhuti bakamkhabela. Ake sibone ukuthi ama-charges wona aniphatheleni. Nginifisela inhlanhla ke bafowethu. Yebo. Ningashona khona. Ayike, bukela. Ake sibone ukuthi yona imphumela ithini ke. All this we have to do manje. Ma-charges kusezandleni zenu.
All right, gentlemen, pitch went okay, I think. What I didn't get is I still don't have a sense of how you're going to fund the student accommodation. I understand that you've taken the bond out and you now own the properties. That's correct, right?
Yes.
I don't understand how you're going to fund the renovations and getting them to spec in order to sort that out for student accommodation. I'm not clear.
I can clarify for you.
Well, our question and answer session is done.
Okay.
So you've had an opportunity to clarify. I don't think it was fully answered in your presentation. And then secondly, I'm not entirely sure about the value of the rental properties that you're holding on to. Especially given that only 4 are let and there's a 5th that doesn't have a tenant. So, and the fact that, I don't think any of them are cash flow positive yet. And you haven't shown the impact of those costs on your projections either. So you've shown us the impact of the student accommodation. You haven't shown us the impact of all the other bonds that you're paying and all the other property costs that you're carrying and what impact that eventually has on the bottom line. So I'm a bit disappointed with the level of detail.
Yeah, your mathematics, guys, is extremely important. I mean, you're standing in front of an audience essentially asking for investment, right? So if you're asking for that, you need to have the mathematics clarified. I would have liked to see a breakdown of where your quickest return is, in which business sector your quickest return is, and how you then utilize that to cross-subsidize into the other areas. And that didn't come through for me. Very disappointing, particularly because I can see that you have had thought about it. So it just tells me that you were quite negligent in bringing that detail to the table. And when you're standing in front of a group of investors, that's critical information.
Pretty angry at you guys. It's one of the things that I stressed yesterday, that the numbers has got to be on par. That's the most important thing when you're asking for investment. Those numbers are important. Again, you neglected one point that we spoke about yesterday to show the growth. That really, what is this investment going to do for this business in terms of growth? How are we going to get there? What are the timelines that we have to get there? So it's things that we spoke about. It's things that you guys know and you just didn't bring them forth today.
But other than that, I think we're excited about your business. We think you've got a really interesting business and you're onto something, both on the student accommodation side and development and good, solid properties and renovations in the township, where sometimes we take it for granted that just because it's not a suburb, it doesn't have to look a certain way. So I like that. I think I'd like to see the following from you guys. I'd like to see a presentation with a proper growth strategy that says, okay, our 5-year plan is this, these are our timelines, and this is how we're going to get from here to there, as well as here's some of the data that we're using and some of the assumptions that we've made to inform our growth strategy. I'd like to see it in a presentation, like a proper one that makes sense, where you would stand in front of people that you take seriously, because maybe you don't take us seriously, but maybe some proper people that you take seriously. So imagine that that's who you would be presenting this thing to. Secondly, we've spoken about mentorship. I'd like you guys to go and engage 1 or 2 people who have made inroads and have gotten quite far in this space. So go talk to some property people, some proper big players, and maybe executives in some of these firms that are involved in property, and just go get some advice. I mean, I think sometimes what happens is that you get stuck in your own head, and it's just the two of you, and you're not exposing yourself. So it'd be great if you could go and maybe meet 1, 2 people and just get some other perspectives on your business and form relationships that you can rely on an ongoing basis to answer questions, and sit with people once a quarter to say, this is the crazy stuff that's happening in our head. What do you think, right? And then the last thing is that you got to come back with financials that speak to your historics, because we've seen bank statements, we haven't actually seen financials. Sure. I would like to see those that, whether management accounts, just to take us and, show us the last few months or years, and give us a sense of the story of the business, and then proper projections that take into account all the different divisions, revenue, costs, etc., proper financial projections. So we'd love to see you guys back. So you're through to the next round, and the 3 things we just spoke to are your tasks.
Thank you.
Cool. Thank you.
All the best, guys.
And all the best. We look forward to seeing you again soon.
Thank you.
I appreciate it.
Thank you.